All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we have a Chicago Bulls video for you. Now, I've done a couple of Bulls off-season, different hypotheticals, even a couple of predictions here and there, but we're going to do a deeper dive on it today. If you enjoy this video, hit that like button, hit that sub button. So, the Chicago Bulls, relatively disappointing season, 31-41. Now, they did not make the playoffs. Personally, I think if Zach LaVine didn't miss those 11 games, the Chicago Bulls would have made the playoffs. Now, here's a quote from Vice President Karnisovas. "We will continue being aggressive in our efforts to make this team better, whether that's through trades, free agency, or the draft. We will not settle for mediocrity here. We have an important summer coming up." Now, I've actually read a couple of articles recently just almost bashing the Chicago Bulls, saying, yeah, they have some potential, but they will never climb anywhere near the top three in the East. And the top three in the East, I mean, I guess you're looking at the Sixers, you're looking at the Bucks, and obviously you're looking at the Nets. Now, I just completely disagree with that statement. I completely disagree with that statement. Here are the 6 guaranteed contracts for next season: Nikola Vucevic, Zach LaVine, Al-Farouq Aminu, Patrick Williams, Kobe White, and Troy Brown Jr. Now, of those 6 players, this is like the exact 6 core that I want moving forward. I mean, Nikola Vucevic was acquired in a trade at the deadline for the first-round pick. Now, the Bulls do have a 20% chance, a little over a 20% chance to actually get a top 4 pick. Now, I would not be shocked if they somehow pulled it off. To get that first pick, it's 4.5%, so it's a little less likely, significantly less likely, and it's almost a huge long shot, but you never know. You got to go back and look at when Derrick Rose was drafted. The Chicago Bulls had actually made the playoffs, or they had just barely missed the playoffs, and they were not projected anywhere close to the top 10. Now, obviously, the draft lottery system has changed recently to help kind of prevent tanking. They lowered the odds of the top 4 picks, so that actually helps the Bulls in this scenario. But you go back to when Derrick Rose was drafted, man, that was a huge long shot. Like, I am shocked that they got that first round pick. I wasn't watching basketball at that time because I was just I don't even think I was 10 yet, but once they drafted Derrick Rose, it was really just game over. I mean, I was instantly Derrick Rose, instantly a Chicago Bulls fan, but there is still hope that the Bulls could somehow get that first pick. They would definitely pick Cade Cunningham. I mean, Cade Cunningham is it's unanimous. So, of those 6, I love Zach LaVine, $19.5 million. I mean, that is just an absolute steal. Al-Farouq Aminu does have a player option, but considering his salary is over $10 million and his NBA career is kind of diminishing as he gets older, I would say he 100% picks up that player option. I hope he does, because Al-Farouq Aminu, while he may not have been able to showcase it in the full season or in the half season he got, this is a good player, and this is a great defensive piece for this team that needs more defensive players. So Patrick Williams, while he did have a relatively disappointing offensive season, he is still a defensive stud, mad potential to grow on offense and defense. But, I mean, there were a couple games this year where Patrick Williams took like 2 shots towards the end of the season, and it's just like, Patrick, man, I don't know what you're doing. You got to be more aggressive. You're the 4th pick in the draft for a reason. Then you look at Kobe White. Now, I've talked about Kobe White in several videos. I still 100% think that the Chicago Bulls should not have Kobe White in their starting lineup next year. He's just a little too inefficient. The defense is not there, and the playmaking isn't there yet. So while he works on those 3 categories, this is the perfect time to go out and get a championship point guard like Chris Paul, like Kyle Lowry. Lonzo Ball obviously would be perfect. That would be kind of a little different than if they were to go after Kyle Lowry or Chris Paul. But you go out, you get Kyle Lowry, Chris Paul, even Lonzo Ball. All these guys can mentor Kobe White. And Kobe off the bench is an absolute menace. I mean, I think that's where he belongs right now. Kobe can play 1 or the 2. He's actually better off ball, in my opinion. So they could even still go for a backup point guard as well. I made a whole video about Derrick Rose, why the Bulls should not sign Derrick Rose. If you want to go check that out, I know it was a relative hot take for the Chicago fans, but I mean, Derrick Rose reuniting with the Chicago Bulls this season just isn't really in the Bulls' best interest. Now, the last guaranteed salary was Troy Brown Jr. at only $5.1 million. Unfortunately, he was just battling, what was it? I can't remember if it was COVID or protocols, but Troy Brown Jr., while he was also a little injured, didn't really get to showcase too much, and he was also out of the rotation some nights for whatever reason, or just didn't play as much as he should have. This is a good young 3-and-D player that I think the Chicago Bulls will have interest in moving forward. You got to keep in mind this was an evaluation year. These guys count as, being evaluated. So here are the two partially guaranteed salaries. You got Thaddeus Young, $6 million guaranteed, and Thomas Satoransky, $5 million guaranteed. Personally, I would love to see Thaddeus Young back in a Bulls uniform. I would absolutely love it. His contract's $14.1 million, so we'll see what they do. As far as Thomas Satoransky goes, $10 million isn't too much, $5 million guaranteed. I really could go either way with Satoransky. I like what he brings to the table. I think Satoransky and Kobe White as the 1-2 duo off the bench could definitely work. I think it definitely could work. Satoransky's got some solid defense as well, so they do have an option on Ryan Arcidiacono, $3 million. I'm not sure what they'll do there. But here are the restricted Bulls free agents: McCalla, Dotson, Green, and Markkanen. Now, Markkanen, he's going to want over $20 million. I hope the Bulls can figure out a way to sign and trade. Maverick fans do not like the idea of a sign and trade to get Jalen Brunson over to the Chicago Bulls and Lauri Markkanen to the Dallas Mavericks, but I think that is definitely in the cards. Even you look at guys like Lonnie Walker, I think a sign and trade with Lauri Markkanen is the best possible scenario for him. I would hate to see him walk away and we get nothing, but at the same time, I know he's going to want over $20 million, and I think some young team with cap space is going to take that chance on him. So we'll see what happens, man. We really will see what happens. Here are the unrestricted guys: Cristiano Felicio, Daniel Tice, Denzel Valentine, and Garrett Temple. We'll see what they do with these guys. Obviously, Felicio should not be in an NBA roster, so I don't think anything will happen with him. Denzel, I rooted for Denzel ever since he got drafted, but at this point, I just don't even really know what to say for him unless he takes a huge pay cut. I don't know, man. He just didn't really do it for me. He's never really done it for me in the Chicago Bulls, and I know most fans agree with that. It's tough. Daniel Tice, man, I would love to see him come back in a Bulls uniform. You could definitely scoop him up for under $10 million. And Garrett Temple, I would also love to see come back in a Bulls uniform. This is the guy who held Jason Tatum to single-point numbers in 2 games. This guy is a good defensive player, and he is fully capable on the offensive end. So let's take a look at the first-round draft picks. Now, I already kind of mentioned this, so I won't talk about it too much. They do have a second-round pick. The location is still to be determined. It's just a whole headache on how it goes. It's the three-way tie in 8 to 10 between the Bulls, Pelicans, and Kings. They'll just be broken up with coin flips, so they don't have any impact on the lottery odds themselves. But man, the Bulls, they finished the season in a 3-way tie with the Pels, the Kings, for the 8th best odds. It just gave them a 20.3 chance. That win against the Milwaukee Bucks on the last game of the year was just so unideal for them. But that's a run on the Chicago Bulls offseason. Let me know down in the comments who you guys want them to target, get rid of, re-sign, draft, anything like that. And I will get a prediction and preview video out in the coming days. So hit that like button, hit that sub button, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.